There we go. All right. So, hey guys. So I've been wanting to do actually two videos for quite some time. One was been on track bashing, which is what this video is going to be about. The other one's my opinion on the cost of racing, why it's got there, and some possible solutions for it. But anyhow, maybe I'll do that in the near future or something. So track bashing, which is something I wanted to talk about. So two things that kind of pushed me to do this now, and it's just some opinions that I have on it. If you go to a racetrack regularly, you know what I'm talking about. But two incidences that kind of pushed me to do this week was two local tracks here in the area. So to kind of give you some background on myself, so you don't think I'm just a guy that goes, because I don't know if this is going to get shared, if it does, where it goes, and so on. But give you some background on myself, so you don't think I'm just a guy that goes to races every now and then, and just speaking out his butt. But been going to races since I was 5 or 6 years old. Started racing myself when I was 15. Raced for a couple years throughout Maryland, Pennsylvania. I worked at a few racetracks for years. I've spectated at many tracks, from probably New York to Florida, Alabama. I think I've been Tennessee at one point, but anyhow, so that's a little bit of my background. So track bashing. So the two tracks that came up was Virginia Motor Speedway here in Virginia. They had canceled the King of the Commonwealth race Saturday for yesterday on Friday. So there was a few people that did not like that. And the thing is they just continued to, in my opinion, just kind of bash their decision. Now, in a nutshell, the thing was King of the Commonwealth is a very big race for super late models. BMS is a dirt track, if you don't know. So they made the decision, them and the sanctioning bodies at the time got together, made the decision to go ahead and call the race. They did have a rain date for today, Sunday. They canceled that as well. But so there was some very strong weather that was moving through the Carolinas up through, I believe, Maryland and Pennsylvania at the time. I believe a lot of that was taken into consideration. That was supposed to actually extend into Saturday morning, early hours. I believe that decision to do that was because of people traveling. Some aspects you got to take into account is people are traveling through that trying to get to the track, and the safety of fans, racers, and everything. That all probably played a part in that. But anyhow, that's one incident in a nutshell. The other one was at Dominion Raceway. Not so much on social media, but just a person or a few persons that continue to express their opinion, I'll say. Kind of pushed me to do this now. So, track bashing. I think there is a pretty sturdy line, black and white line down the middle, that separates bashing a racetrack and oh god, what do they call it? Criticism, whatever. But the productive criticism or something like that. Hopefully you know what I'm saying. But there, I've seen it at so many tracks all over. It's the same people, week after week after week after week, that are on social media, at the racetrack, doing nothing but bitching, griping, complaining about all the wrong things, all the bad things. There's no good, but they continue to pay the prices and travel those distances to come out there and watch the races at the same tracks they're bitching about all the time. Social media is a wonderful, wonderful tool, wonderful marketing tool, but it's also your worst enemy in some cases. Um, you know, I think if constructive criticism, that's what I was thinking about earlier. Um, I think if people got together, and more or less, if you use constructive criticism, so if you're at a racetrack, you don't like something, especially if you're there all the time, week after week, man, like I was saying, social media is a good marketing tool and stuff. Um, with the internet, I mean, all of your contact information, all that stuff's on there with these racetracks as far as getting in touch with the promoters, um, different people at the racetracks. Reach out to them, email them, call them if you're at the racetrack. See if you can talk to them, face to face. Express your concerns. Express what your thoughts are on fixing that problem. Rather than just driving the place into the ground all the time. Like I said, reach out to these people. There's multiple different ways you can reach out to them. Do that. And you never know. Offer your help. If you're somebody that's got that extra time to join the staff of that racetrack or something to help make these things better. Offer your time. Maybe they'll hire you. To take over certain things. You don't know, but that's all ways to really help some of these situations rather than just sitting there bashing these places or really just trolling on racetracks week after week. And you never know. So, a track that I go to a lot, one thing that I heard a lot about a couple years ago was I actually ran into a couple people that were wanting to go to this racetrack. They've heard about it. They wanted to go, but they haven't because they kept hearing a lot of bad things about it. Now, there was three people, that's it, that were continuously on the Facebook page bashing this track week after week after week. And it's funny because one of the persons had said if his driver ain't there, he'll never be there. Well, his driver wasn't there a few times and he was there. So, but anyhow, with bashing, there's a lot of tracks in this country that are hurting really bad for different reasons. And, my suggestion is, all these people that do this, get together. I know there's a few people in Pennsylvania that bitch about Williams Grove, Lincoln, and Trailway all the time. Put your minds together, get some money together, buy, promote, build your own racetrack. Build that 100% flawless racetrack that everybody in the country is going to flock to because there's absolutely no problems. I can tell you right now, I don't care what racetrack you go to. I do not care what racetrack you go to. If it's dirt, if it's asphalt, if it's NASCAR sanctioned, go-karts, dirt or asphalt, drag racing, anything. I don't care what you go to. Every racetrack is going to have a problem. It's there. I mean, every track is going to have their own issues. So if you're going to, and I use this as an example, if you go to Langley Speedway all the time, but you're constantly bitching about, their prices, okay? Well, you get tired of that, so you decide, well, you know what? I'm gonna go to Hagerstown Speedway now because I hear a lot of good things about them. You go to Hagerstown Speedway, well, you know what? Their ticket prices are great. You love a lot about them, but there's that one thing that you just can't stand. You're bitching about, so you quit going there. So what do? You go to, say, Dominion. You start going to Dominion, same thing. Some things are great about it, but then you're going to start bitching about something there. And the people that are doing the bashing, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to make them happy. And like I said, it's almost like they're just trolls, trolling social media on these racetracks. And, but one thing I could definitely say is definitely, if you truly have issues with the track, try to turn it, rather than bashing them all the time, whether it's on or off social media, turn it into constructive criticism. Like I said, reach out to the racetracks, email them, call them, hell, go to the old-fashioned way, write them. Give them your ideas. Tell them, look, this isn't really such a good idea. I don't agree with it. Let's see about changing it. This is my suggestion on changing this. And you never know. You never know. And like I said, if you're somebody that just has that love of racing in your blood, you just want to be part of it, get involved with it. Maybe you can offer your time to them to fix some of this stuff. You never know. But you also got to understand, a lot of those suggestions are going to go nowhere. Okay, and it's not because they're just going to drop the ball, but your suggestion may not fit their business plan, may not fit their finances either. So, but definitely, constructive criticism is good. I was in customer service management and stuff for years, still kind of am. And one of the things I love complaints. Now, some of them sucked, but I love complaints, because you don't know how do you improve if you don't know where you need to improve in. So it's all about constructive criticism and people wanting to help and letting you know. But like I said, don't get discouraged if it doesn't go anywhere. So the other thing is that people have got to understand, one of the biggest complaints I hear bitch about is when racetracks make calls to cancel. If they cancel too early, people are going to complain. If you try to get the show in and you cancel, people are going to complain because you should have done it earlier. And that's kind of part of what happened with VMS this weekend. But one thing you all got to understand is, I hear a lot of people bitch about, well, they didn't cancel because they knew it was going to rain. They knew they were going to cancel. They just wanted our money. They wanted our concession money, and they wanted our, pit fees and admission fees. Look, I've never promoted a track. I've never owned a track, but I can tell you one thing. When these tracks don't get a show in, it costs them a lot of money. Because you got to think, if you've got 1,000 people that paid to get into the pits, paid to get into the grandstands, all that stuff, all of those prices are free your following week. Okay? So you think, all right, big deal. They still got their money. Well, that's true. But if you look at, for that night, let's say they try to get it in. They run the track in, they get the track dried off, dirt or asphalt, depending on what it is, but they just can't get the show in and they end up canceling it. Okay. Some people may not be able, some people may be out of town. They may not be able to come back. They're out of the money. Unfortunately, that is what it is. I went to Lincoln one time last year. I knew they were calling for rain. I still made the decision to go up there. They canceled. I had 3 races to come back and use. The rain check, couldn't make it. It is what it is. I'm the one that made the decision to go. But these racetracks, you got to look at, when they don't get an event in, yeah, they still have the money for all the entry fees and, grandstand fees and stuff like that. But you also got to look at concessions. Okay, yeah, they probably made a little bit off the concessions, but look at all the food that was prepared that's got to be trashed now. They're losing that money. A lot of tracks pre-prepare a lot of their food. A lot of that stuff you can't just freeze and keep. A lot of that stuff gets tossed. Your power bills, some tracks gas bills for the kitchens. All that stuff still has to get paid. Employees, payroll's got to be met. All that stuff's got to be done. So you think the tracks are there just trying to suck you in and spend money, but that's not the case. They may make a little bit, but on the back end, on the books, they're losing. I mean, they're losing, and I don't care if you go to Daytona, you go to Capital City, which is a go-kart track, or you go to Potomac, whatever the case is, Lincoln, it's all the same. I mean, there are bills to be paid when they open those doors, and stuff that a lot of fans don't see. They just see the money coming out of their pocket. But at the same time, those fans are the ones that are making that decision to go to that track knowing it's calling for rain. So why are you going to bash a track for making a call when you're the one that made the decision to go? You know what I'm saying? I'm not discouraging you to go to a track when they're calling for rain, because I've been at tracks where they've called for 80% chance and it ain't rain, and I've been at tracks where they've called for 20% and it's poured. So it is what it is. It's a chance. But just kind of keep that in mind too. And I tell you one thing, turn 5 turnaround. Danny Wilson with turn 5 turnaround. They've have been trying to do, or actually doing a wonderful job promoting tracks in the Mid-Atlantic area. Um, bring a friend, bring a neighbor into your tracks and stuff. They've been doing some great things trying to get fans in the stands, and actually more cars on track too. They're doing a lot of good things. So as they always say, bring a friend out to the races. Concentrate on the good things that are going on at the track. Because every track's going to have some good things. Every track's going to have some issues, and that's everywhere you go. So, concentrate on promoting the good things. As they say, bring a friend, bring a neighbor, coworker, whatever. Bring them out to the track, and let's try to get, like I said, just concentrate on some of the good things. I mean, I think over the last 2 years, last year, this year, in my opinion, the racetracks I've been to so far, and last year, I think that car counts have started to increase a little bit, which is great considering the last 10 years-ish. And I'd talk about that if I end up finally doing a video of cost of race and stuff like that too. But so that's my video touching on bashing, track bashing and stuff. Just try to use those bashing situations, try to turn them into constructive criticism, but understand, the on the backbone of everything, if you give your suggestions to tracks and you sit down and you talk with promoters, owners, or whatever the case is, you got to understand there's a lot of factors that come into play to get your suggestion in effect. So some may not go anywhere, some may actually go somewhere. And that's how you really start making a change, not sitting there driving the track into the ground week after week after week. So anyhow, so I don't know, let me know what you think, stuff. If you can, share it, and yeah, cool. So get out to the races. See you.